In today's video, we're going to go ahead and tackle a question that doesn't get a whole lot of thought until after you actually need to have the answer. And that question is, how many memory cards do you need to buy for your photography studio? What's going on with you guys? Welcome back to the Smash Cake, a YouTube channel that is dedicated to providing top-notch photography education to photographers like you, as well as a small band of slightly crazy yet harmless Smash Cake photographers. Now, no matter which tribe you subscribe to, today's video is going to apply to you because we are talking about how many memory cards you need for your new fledgling photography business. Now, the short answer to today's question is, of course, like all things in photography, it depends. So in today's video, we're going to go over not only how many memory cards you need to buy, but what size memory card will be right to suit your needs. And as a bonus at the end of this video, I will be sharing my very simple mathematical equation to help you decide how many memory cards to buy for your studio. Okay, so jumping right into the meat and potatoes of today's video, how many memory cards you need to buy depends on several factors, and one of those factors is what type of photography do you do? For example, a wedding photographer is going to need way more storage space than a landscape photographer because let's face it, during the course of a wedding, you are going to take thousands of images, and when you're a landscape photographer, well, maybe you're taking a couple hundred at most. But in this video, I want to narrow the focus down a little bit. What I want to talk about is portrait photographers only, right? That's what I am. That's what I can speak to. I am not a wedding photographer, and holy God, am I not a landscape photographer. Too much mud, too much getting up early, not enough five-star hotels. Just saying. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and narrow the focus to portrait photographers that are shooting stills and no video, right? If you plan on doing a hybrid session where you're shooting video and you are shooting stills, then maybe you take my numbers that I'm going to toss out today and you double them. So in this video, let's just go ahead and agree that we're going to focus on portrait sessions, no video. All right? Okay, so what size memory card do you need? That's the first question you really want to tackle because that's going to determine, of course, how many. Now, the size of the memory card that you choose to buy, that's really going to depend on another factor, which is what type of file format do you choose to shoot in? Now, as we all know, you can shoot JPEGs and you can shoot RAWs. So if you choose to shoot in RAW, you really need to understand that when you are shooting RAW, you are shooting a absolute RAW file. That's that all the information is being recorded. It is a digital negative. Whereas if you're shooting in JPEG, well, only a fraction of that information is being recorded and it needs less space on your memory card. Now, a word of warning, those of you who choose to shoot in JPEG, it's not a great idea. And the reason for that, of course, is that when you are new to photography, you make exposure mistakes. And you can correct those mistakes if you're shooting in RAW. You have a lot more leeway in editing. If you make an exposure mistake and you're shooting only JPEGs, the minute you decide to go ahead and improve the exposure on that thing, well, the whole thing just falls apart, gets all pixelated, and then there's the possibility of printing is just simply not there. So now that we've agreed to shoot RAW and we're all on the same page, the question still stands, how many memory cards do I need? And the next factor that will help you determine that is the resolution of your camera. Now, I don't want to sit here and state the obvious, but the higher the resolution of your camera, well, the more space on that memory card that you're going to need. So what I want to do is take our time here, and I want to run you through my experience working with entry-level cameras all the way up to professional-grade cameras, and I can tell you what each camera kind of records roughly on one memory card. So let me break it down for you. For those of you using older cameras like my Sony a7 III that shoots at 24 megapixel, I can tell you from experience that a 32 gigabyte memory card will hold about one session's worth of photos. Now, if we step it up a little bit with the a7R III, that's got a little more resolution. It shoots at 42-ish megapixels, and I can get about one session on a 64 gigabyte memory card. Now, for those of you shooting on a larger, newer camera like the Sony a7R V, you're looking at about 60 megapixels there, and I would recommend getting a 128 gigabyte card for one session's worth of photos. Now, this gives you enough leeway that if you belong to the overshooters of America like I do, you can still fit an entire session on one card. So even if you are an overshooter, I think the numbers I just gave you will apply. Okay, so we went ahead and talked about the number of images that you're going to shoot, and we went ahead and talked about the size of your camera or the resolution. Now we're going to answer the burning question, how many memory cards do you need? Now, to answer that question, I've come up with one simple mathematical equation, and that is simply this. I want you to take the amount of clients that you are shooting currently per week, or you think you might shoot per week, and multiply it by the amount of time in weeks it takes you to deliver your final prints. So from photo shoot to those prints coming from your print lab and walking in your front door, the amount of time in weeks. Okay, so in my case, it's 3 weeks. So let's say that we're got the 2 customers and we're going to go ahead and multiply that by 3 weeks. And now we know we need 6 memory cards because we're only putting 1 client per card. And here's the secret sauce. You are not going to delete those memory cards until after you deliver those finals. Now, the reason for this is it's one more backup system. It's a redundant backup system. So if the caca were to actually hit the fan, you've got those RAWs to go back to, right? If you had a hard drive crash, if you had whatever, you could go back to those RAW files, re-edit them. Yes, you have to do the work again, and yes, that's gonna suck, but you can go ahead and re-edit them and still get paid on the job. Now, truth be told, my backup system is a lot more complicated than just not deleting my RAW files off the memory card, and I will be doing a future video on that. And if you guys are interested in all of the lengths that I go through just to keep from losing images, losing clients, and ultimately losing money, then feel free to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And when that video goes live, you guys will be the very first to know. And in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions, of course, comment section down below. And if you want to see more videos that we put out, of course, they will be popping up around my head like they always do. So feel free to watch one of those. Once again, I'm Daniel Troutman with thesmashcake.com. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.